I already hit the button, because that's what I do. I'm a professional.
Recording.
I hit the button first. You know what that means? That means A, I'm more excited to do this, and B, I am the better professional.
Well, technically, you're just a premature recorder. It happens to the best of us. Best podcasters every now and then.
Isn't that I can't make a recorder sound. Is the recorder just like the Dollar General flute?
Yeah, it's like a cheap way to teach kids some musical instrument notes. The bad thing is, like, our school, like, we shared them all, and they would just throw them like a big bucket of soapy water. It's like, they're clean.
However, like, I've seen, like, buskers on the street that can, like, crush it on a recorder.
Oh, you can play some good music. The notes are basically the same as a saxophone, so I could probably pick one up and play a little bit.
Did you see the Andy Griffith theme?
No, I can't because I'm smiling. It froze for a second. I wish I could have got a screenshot because you're like, it was the cutest thing ever. No, it wasn't like you're about ready to accept a hot dog in your mouth. It was more like a genuine, like, happy look.
You mean penis?
Yeah, you look like you're about to accept a penis.
Let's call a spade and a penis.
A good hot dog sounds good right now. And I actually mean a hot dog.
I bet it does. You know what that's called? Freudian penis. We're going to record a show now. Oh.
Why are you filleting the microphone? It's how I warm up, Sean. It's how.
You know why? Because it asks nicely. That's all it takes.
And technically, it's its birthday.
No, I don't wait for. I'm not an ABC kind of girl. I'm a DTP.
Down to pod.
Yeah. All right, we better get started. Or else we're gonna waste all this. We're gonna waste all this good funny.
I know, right? They'll be in the cold open, and then they'll jump into the episode and be like, "No, I'm gonna just start listening to the first 3 minutes."
Yep.
No wonder their wives always seem unhappy.
Motherfucker. They're only good for the first 3 minutes.
Good start. No, can't finish it.
Yep. All the rest is just one big letdown.
Oh, that's what Dad always says. My first 3 years were my strongest.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but I couldn't even spell. He's like, you can't spell now.
I have to have that screamed at me. That's the only way I get off.
What's that?
You're terrible. You're nothing but a disappointment. I see. We can't talk anymore like this. I'll have to go to the bathroom. Anyway. What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Sean.
And we're speaking the language of bromance. And Sean, today I have a story which you tell me we haven't done, but I feel like there's somewhere there that I talked about this. I feel like I talked about this at some point. I did mention one thing earlier, and you were like, "No, I was like, we already did a show about that," and I said, "Oh God, we're turning into The Simpsons."
Yeah. At this point, I have to like Google our podcast to make sure we haven't talked about stuff. Drafts are the worst. I'd be like, "Oh my God, we should do a draft on villains." I'm like, "Oh, already did it." It's tough. It's difficult.
The first one.
Yeah, it was one of the first. Those are easy to remember. There's like a man cave one. I was like, "Oh, we should do a man cave draft." I was like, "Oh, already did it."
Yeah. You know what we should do? We should have a show where we come up with ideas for new shows. That should just be the show. We should just have an episode where we come up with ideas for episodes, and that is the episode.
It'd be like for other podcasts. That'd be cool. So other podcasts can listen to us and get ideas for what they should talk about. What would we call it?
It'd be like
Get your pod on.
No.
I don't think that'd be a good one. Nobody know how many M's to put in that for the search.
So this would be a podcast about ideas for other podcasts.
Yeah.
1,001 ways to waste your money.
I still think we need
a million ways to kill your spirit. like a million ways to die in the West, but a million ways to kill you. Yeah, see?
I like that. Idea number 1 is going to be our Baron Banky podcast idea called Bore.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
Okay. I don't know what. There have to be a good name for it though. But we just spend the whole show just talking about ideas for other podcasts.
So I was trying to think of like a performance enhancing. You call it like Podagra, something like that. Agropod.
Yeah.
But I was thinking like Podagra because it'd be like Viagra for your podcast.
Oh, I was thinking Agropod, like an aggregator of Podstorm.
Podcorn.
Like, what?
I don't know. You're just saying things at this point. I wanted to.
No, Podstorm, like brainstorm.
Oh,
because you're coming up with ideas.
That's a good one. Yeah. Copyright Richard and Sean.
Look at you trying to fucking knock me in the dick right off the fucking jump.
Well, Podcorn, because everybody can have
wait.
I was acting like my wife in that moment. You tell her something genius, and she's like, that makes absolutely no sense. Then
you're like, no, wait, hear me out.
And then 10 minutes later, she comes.
Well, that's not bad.
She's like, I talked to your father and he explained it to me better than you did.
Like when I have a good idea, and my wife always thinks it's, a way for me to try and go for the back door.
I mean, 90% of the time it is, but
I was just going to say that 9 times out of 10, she's right, but
because you want to go in the front door, because then, the back door is just more conspicuous. Inconspicuous.
So, what? Because I want to be sneaky?
I was trying to insinuate I didn't really think you meant butt sex.
Oh, but I did. Anyway, this show's already off the rails.
It is.
We haven't even talked about the idea.
I know.
It's already off the rails. Anyway, Sean, today we're going to talk about ancient medieval history.
Ooh.
Which is a topic I know lights the world on fire, lights the internet on fire whenever it's brought up.
Why do they call it medieval? Because whenever I think of it, I think of more of like mid, M-I-D, and evil. Why is it? What's medieval? Where's that come from? Do you know?
I don't know. I have no idea. What is the etymology behind the word medieval?
Yeah. You never thought about that?
I don't know.
Medieval.
Maybe it's like Old English for middle.
Oh man, was that?
Because you have the Renaissance and then you have the Middle Ages.
Yeah. So they're like, we're in the 15th century, so we're totally not getting to the 30th century. That's when it all ends. So we're in the middle. Yeah, the Middle Ages. That was pretty presumptuous that they were in the middle.
Well, I mean, it's better than, now you can walk down the street and somebody says it's the end time. So, who's the bigger asshole?
No, that's a good point.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
They call it...
Man, I'm fucking...
They had high middle times?
Popping them off today.
Ooh, but that was... The high middle times began after 1000, so we should be coming up to the end of it, Richard. Math checks out.
See, now you're sounding like the guy that I passed by on the street.
Well, because I am the guy you passed down the street. I'm like, it's That's the end of the world. I'm like, hey, Richard.
And I'm like, Sean?
Are we recording tonight? Yeah, okay, cool. I got an idea for a podcast called Podstorm. I came up with it on my own. No, you did. You son of a bitch.
Myself. By the way, do you have any nickels? Because I am hungry.
All I have is bills. Perfect. I'll take them. Hey, wait. Oh, damn it. Got me again. I don't know if I'd want to.
I love him.
I don't know if I'd want to live in the medieval times.
No. At what point? Okay. Before we start, because we're already heading down a weird tangent path anyway. So you know what? Let's just take it and let's just embrace it. How far back could you live? At what point are you okay, this, I can't live any later than X time period.
2002.
That's Sean, you're older than that.
I know, exactly.
I can't you did do that. You did live earlier than that.
I mean, it's kind of tough. You're like, well, what about the 60s? Like, well, that wasn't a good time. What about the 40s? That really wasn't a good time.
I mean, the 60s wasn't terrible, I don't think.
I mean, I think like the early.
I saw a lot, but Sean, I've seen movies and I've seen documentaries, and I see people driving around in vans, and they just like, they're driving around and they just like pull into a place and they're like, hey, I'm going to wait tables. And then you're like, somebody's like, okay. And then you just wait a few tables and it's like, okay, I'm going to drive away now.
And some dude comes out see me again. Wearing a mask of dead people and chainsaw and cuts you in half.
That doesn't.
Based on a true story.
Sean.
Based on a true story.
No, it's not.
Let's see. I don't know.
I was one guy
who did all those things.
There was one guy.
I don't know. That's a good question. How far back would you go? I feel like you already know your answer.
See, okay. Like
2002.
Okay, right. So I'm thinking about it. Okay, so like, could I live in the 60s, 70s? Like, yes, handedly. I feel like I think that I would do well in the 60s and the 70s. And be like, hey, look, I have $400. I guess I'll go buy a house.
Yeah, but your $400 you bring today is not going to work.
No, my $400 I bring today. I'm saying like, hey, I've got a spare $400. I guess I'll just buy this, 3-bedroom bungalow. See what happens in 40 years. Yeah. Could I live in the 50s? 50s wouldn't be too bad. Be all right.
Yeah. I just think of the big things, like in the world. Like, you go back to any decade and they were like smack dab in some like big political war type thing.
Yeah, but Sean, I mean, like, let's face facts. Like, I'm a straight white male. Like, odds are I'm gonna be okay.
Well, I mean, you get drafted, and then you're like, well, I'm not going to do that. And then in some of those times, 60s, you could get away with it because you just go to Canada. But, like during like World War II, if you're like, I'm not going, they'd probably get beat up.
Well, I go live in Canada or Mexico.
Oh, did Mexico fight in that war?
No,
they're not. Canada did, I think.
Yeah, but they didn't draft. Well, if they did draft people, they wouldn't draft me because they'd be like, oh, well, he's probably going over. He's probably just heading back to America so he can get out of the boat. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Nope.
Like, let me see your ID. Wait, this says 2000. This is fake. What is this? Plastic? Oh man, I don't know. Because like you look at like the cowboy times, like in the movies, that looks cool. Yeah, real life, not fun.
Well, I mean, plus, like, if it was the 40s, like, let's say you're worried about getting drafted, I think that you would be okay. I think you'd be good enough to like thread that needle between coming off just crazy enough so that you wouldn't get drafted, but not crazy enough that they like, shove metal in your brain and cut part of it out.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. They think you're like a future person. They do all the crazy scientific stuff on you.
Yeah. They put leeches on you, and then they do trepanning. You know what trepanning is? They drill a hole in your head.
Is that kind of like a lobotomy?
No, they don't even do anything. They think that like there's like if you feel like pressure inside your head, what they do is they would drill a hole in there to like relieve the pressure in your head.
Yeah. Oof.
A lot of times they would do it without anesthetic. They just like, actually with me,
yeah, good point. Yeah. Quit moving. I'll have to do it longer.
Yeah.
Oh, I went the wrong way. Righty tighty, lefty loosey.
I've seen pictures of skulls that have like gone through it, and you can tell the people that survived and the people that didn't, because the ones that survived, like the hole doesn't appear as big, and you can see like where the skull was like growing back. But if you see like this clean hole where like it just looks like somebody just like drilled a hole in it, you're like, oh, that guy died.
That's a person who
didn't make it.
That's a person who didn't slow down that last bit and was still pushing. It's like, oh, shoot, sorry, and they're dead.
Yeah,
stab the brain.
Oh fuck.
Well, bring in the next one. But I guarantee not the Middle Ages, because that's where like, yeah, you had no property.
Well, I don't know. I think you could fake being I think you could fake being like an aristocrat in the Middle Ages.
Oof.
And once you do that, I feel like you got it made, or at least as made as you can in the 1400s.
Yeah, but I mean, being made back in the 1400s compared to like not being made right now, probably got it better now than even the people who had it made back then.
I don't know, like, I think that if you jumped in a river and just like washed yourself off and then like gave yourself like a quick trim.
Oh yeah, and they see I have all my teeth.
Yeah, they see you have all your teeth. They would see that you're groomed. They would see that you're like not covered in fucking horse shit.
Yeah, they'd see that I'm kind of fat.
And then they'd be like, this man is a fucking prince somewhere, and then you just make a fucking country up.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm the prince of fucking Lapidonia,
Tennessee. I'm the prince of Tennessee because I don't think that would have been known.
Prince
back then.
of Tennessee.
Yeah.
In Tarantino land, and they're like, ooh, Tarantino land. We're like, yes, it's far to the south.
Dub the Duke of Quentin, or what is it? Quentin Tarantino. Duke of Quentin Tarantino.
You just make shit up. And then they'd look at you and they'd be like, well, I mean, he looks fucking rich, so he's probably telling the truth.
Yeah, because they probably weren't carrying around gold the whole time. Oh, that's a good point.
No.
But even then, though,
it's not like you're walking around with a fucking sack of fucking gold coins on your back.
But even that, like, what do you get? They're like, here, have our water, and you drink it, and it's poop water, and you get diarrhea and die. I don't know. I feel like
but you wouldn't get you know what's poop water and what isn't.
Well, I mean, if you haven't drank anything for 6 days because there's nobody around, because if you drop like in the middle of nowhere, you're like, oh shit, I should have thought this through. Start walking to where you think Britain is, or France, or wherever you're at.
Yeah, but I mean, you could just like, obviously, like, if you're like out in the woods and you come like along a stream, then you don't have to worry about that being polluted. It's not like the fucking big Renaissance company up the river is dumping chemicals into the water.
Yeah, that's true. As long as you're kind of, although that's where everybody dumped all their stuff. So as long as you're kind of upstream from most of the cities.
I was going to say, like, I would say like major cities, that's a different story, because I feel like in a major city, everything kind of just ended up in the river.
Yeah. Well,
either on purpose or just from gravity.
Yeah. It's like, it'll go away from us.
Yeah. It's going to rain soon. It's fucking London.
Man, I don't know. I still don't think, even if you were like Prince level back then, I doubt it was. I feel like even us right now probably have it better than the princes back then.
Oh, yeah. Yes. If you're talking about like the fact that we have, like enclosed windows with curtains.
We don't have to worry about walking outside and getting murdered.
Did you ever watch the guys that did Sherlock? Fucking Stephen Moffat, when he did Doctor Who for a couple seasons, and they did Sherlock with Cumberbatch. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So he did a remake that I use with very bold underlined air quotes of Bram Stoker's Dracula. And at one point, spoilers on the show. I know, like, you don't care, but just in case. At one point, Dracula ends up in like modern times, like today, and he's standing like in somebody's house, and it's just like some random fucking like house, just like a regular old, 2-bedroom house. And he's like, this is the fanciest shit I have ever seen in my entire life. He's like, are you some sort of king? Are you like he was just enamored with like the finery, because like it had like bullshit shag carpet and like wood paneling on the fucking walls, and he was like, this is amazing.
Well, just think if you could go back like 10 generations and pluck like your grandfather from 10 generations ago and drop him in your life right now. He's like, oh my God, you must be a king.
My children are kings.
Oh, my lineage has lived on. They must know the name of Sean. Like, no.
What do you do? And then you're like, I'm a podcaster. And then he's like, what the fuck is that?
I talk to lots of people. Oh, you're the town crazy person. Fantastic.
I don't know. I guess if you're asking, like, could I live in medieval times? Like, I think it would just depend. I feel like I'd have to like try it before I buy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I feel like if I could make it a week, then I think I could make it a month.
And I always kind of wonder, like, what diseases back then that we've kind of evolved past that, like, you would get exposed to. Like, I mean, Black Death, obviously. Like, if you timed it wrong.
Well, that came like what, like late 1300s?
Yeah, I think that's
like,
still kind of considered the medieval. At least that's what that said.
Yeah.
But like what like, you know, if you went back in time when there was smallpox still, it's like you could still get that and die.
Yeah, but see, again, you just stay away from, like, you just do what we do today. We stay away from the pores, right?
I guess.
And then we don't, and then we'll be just fine.
That's true. I don't know. I think probably I would just go
stay away from the pores and the stupid, and we'll be and you won't get sick.
Yeah, but they didn't even believe in viruses back then. Or germs.
No, they just had it.
Yeah. They're like,
and they're just like, oh, everything's a demon.
And then here you come poofing out of nowhere.
Yeah. And then you sneeze and they're like, oh my God, he's possessed. Sean, I would last 4 hours in medieval times. I would be burned alive in the first 4 hours.
Yeah. I would go to the 80s. 1984. 80s wouldn't be bad.
I mean, I was there for, I mean, I was little, but I was there for most of it. It wasn't that bad.
I don't remember much of it.
Didn't have internet.
I was 4. Sometimes I don't think that's a bad thing. No internet. That wouldn't be a bad thing.
I mean, it wasn't. No. If you were rich, you had satellite television. If you were upper middle to middle, you had cable.
Cable is more of a thing. 90s, I think most people had cable.
By the 90s, most people had cable. But like in the 80s, like early mid 80s, like I would say upper middle to middle had cable. I did have cable. I don't know how. We lived in like a fucking 2-bedroom apartment when I was a kid, but for some reason we managed to have cable.
Yeah, I remember at least when I started to remember like 5, 6, 7, we had cable, I think.
So like I'm 6 years old and I got to watch MTV and that was really, really cool. Because then you saw Bon Jovi and you were like, who is that?
He must be a king.
You saw David Lee Roth and you were like, what the fuck is that? How does he jump so high? Oh, it's in the song. That makes sense.
What's Panama? Is that a fun place to go?
Panama. Ain't no stopping now.
I do remember my mom watching a lot of that when I was young. Because I remember the Aerosmith video where the girl bungee jumps. Alicia Silverstone.
Oh, that's Alicia Silverstone. That was the 90s, though.
Oh, okay. Because she got her belly button pierced, and I thought she bungee jumped with it pierced to her belly button, or with a rope holding her belly button. I could not understand the physics of that.
Yeah, that was crying. That was a crying video.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, I remember watching MTV and Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon was on then.
Ooh, yeah. I remember watching Beetlejuice every time I came home because it like started at like 3:30. They had the Beetlejuice cartoon. Good stuff.
When I was a kid, Nickelodeon had You Can't Do That on Television, which was like a Canadian kid version of Saturday Night Live.
Okay. So kind of like
they did skit. They did like skits and shit like that, but it was all kids.
So it's kind of like the All That from the 90s?
Yes, it was exactly like that.
All That was good.
Alanis Morissette was on that show. You Can't Do That on Television.
And she's Canadian, so it
like
checks
as
out.
A kid.
Yeah.
There was way more. Like I didn't realize half those shows that were on Nickelodeon were from Canada.
Oh, in the beginning?
Yeah. Well, even like into the 90s. Like Are You Afraid of the Dark? Did you know that was a Canadian fucking show?
Oh,
I had no idea.
Was it shot in Canada?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was Nickelodeon's produced.
No, I think it was shot in Canada. I think it was like they bought the show.
Huh.
And then, because then remember Nickelodeon started putting Degrassi on all the fucking time.
Yeah, I don't really. Oh, that would have been like at Nick at Night, right? Or Teen Nick or whatever when they started doing that stuff.
Yeah, like the teen. Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't watch that because it was. My mom was like, "Nope, too much for you."
Nope,
because it's
you can't
Teen
watch
Nick.
Degrassi.
I'm like, Mom, I'm 17. She's like, too early. Too early for my Pooh Bear. Go to bed. Okay, Mom. Nighty night. Are You Afraid of the Dark is a great show, though.
Did you see that they rebooted it?
I watched. So they had like a 3-part Are You Afraid of the Dark, but it wasn't like how they did the original. It was like a mini movie that was split into 3 parts.
Yes.
Watched the first one. Was pretty good. But I thought they were supposed to do like a full reboot of it.
I thought so too. It's not. I thought it was I thought that was like supposed to like kick it off. I only watched the first 2 episodes
because it's the one with the carnival.
Yeah. I only watched the first 2.
Yeah, because I think it's like a 3 or 4 episode.
But yeah, I thought it was supposed to kick off like this full reboot of the show.
Oh, they've got Carnival of Doom was 3 episodes, and then Curse of the Shadows.
Oh,
so I think they kind of did the same thing.
Super creepy.
No, it sounds like. Oh no, yeah, these have all the same villain, the Shadow Man. The
Shadow.
Oh, but they do the same thing with that. So they have like a storyteller, but then all the episodes tie into it. Yeah, it kind of stinks. I like the vignette style where it's all individual episodes. But that Carnival of Doom one was kind of freaky.
It gave you a very like Twilight Zone-y, or I'd say more Outer Limits kind of feel to it.
Yeah, but even that, for like when you watch that as a kid, so like that first season came out in 91. I was like 5. And I'm pretty sure I watched that by the time I was like 6 or 7. And some of those things were a little much. Like I went back to watch the one with the clown. Like even at my age, I was like, "Ooh, I'm scared." Tiffany.
You mean Zebo?
Yeah.
Zebo the clown?
I told Tiffany she has to stay home with me that night. And she's like, "We're not having sex." I'm like, "No, I watched Are You Afraid of the Dark before you came over. I'm scared." She's like, "We're not even dating."
Yeah. We're not even dating. Meanwhile, do you want a balloon animal? And then you're like, ah!
Yeah. I proposed that night, Richard, so she wouldn't leave. But yeah, that'd be great to pull that one back.
I think I could do the Middle Ages. I think I could do the Middle Ages. I don't know if I could do like the Old West. I don't know if I could do cowboy times.
Medieval times, you got to be good with like hand-to-hand weapons. And like cowboy times, at least you have a gun.
Yeah, but see, cowboy times, you have a gun. And cowboy times, so did everybody else.
It's true. But the guns weren't very powerful, so if you got shot with them, you just died like from infection and painfully. In medieval times, you got your arm cut off and you died painfully. Yeah.
I don't know. Violence in like cowboy times seemed far more common and random than in medieval times.
Yeah, I've always wondered if that's like actually legit or if it's just the Western movies kind of made that. Because I'm sure like
you just watched enough Westerns and you're like, there's fucking bank robbers everywhere.
Every town, every day, bank robbery.
Yeah. You just walk into a town and be like, Are you Jesse James? Are you Jesse James? Who's Jesse? Is that Jesse James?
Who's Billy the Kid? Are you Billy the Kid?
And then they're like, who the fuck is Jesse James?
Where's Wyatt Earp?
You'll find out. You'll find out. And then they'll be like, are you Jesse James? And I'm like, no, I am 100. One thing I'm sure of is that I am not Jesse James.
What's your name? Clint Eastwood? No, but like you think about all these different times, Richard, if we went back in time, you know what we'd end up being? Farmers.
What? I don't want to be a farmer.
Yeah, that's what everybody did. Because you had to make your own food.
Well, yeah, because that's the way you ate food.
Either farm.
Why can't we be something cool?
Well, that's where all the violence comes from.
What if we wrote books? What if we wrote books like Jules Verne? Jules Verne wrote books about a guy that fucking climbs into a submarine and goes under the water. But everybody thinks he's a fucking genius because he wrote it 80 gajillion years ago.
Yeah.
That's all we got to do.
He wrote To the Moon too, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
So that's all we gotta do. We'll just go back in time and we'll write a fucking story about the Kardashians and we'll be fucking millionaires.
That's a good point. They'll be like, wait, she put his wee where? Esther, get in here. I want to try something.
I read it in this book. This man's a genius.
That's a good point, Richard.
That's all you gotta do, Sean. We'll just go back in time and then we'll just write fucking science fiction.
That'd probably work.
But it won't be science fiction. We'll just be like, and then he picked up his thing and tapped on it and it made noise and people are like, what the fuck is that?
And then we take
what kind of fucking witchcraft is he writing about?
We take it to the guy with the printing press and it takes like 12 years for him to get like 6 books made.
Yeah. We'll grab a bunch of bullshit stories off Facebook and be fucking rich. We could just come up with urban legends, be like, and then the hook was on the side of the horse, and then everybody's like, ah!
That's a good point. You can start doing like the cryptoology kind of stuff, like talk about Bigfoots and things like that.
Yeah.
That'd be where to be. But Richard, you know what you'd have to get used to? Just missionary.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I respectfully disagree. I think that girls were down. I think that it was just I think that, it was just a puritanical time. And I think that the women were oppressed by the men, because I bet that if you found a lady and you were like, hey, I think you're super groovy and we're going to do all this crazy stuff, she'd be like, whatever.
It's like, hey, I want to go.
You'd be like, yeah. And on top of that, I'm going to let you control half of the money just because.
You're like, I want to go through the back door. She's like, we don't have a back door. Yeah. We don't even really have a front door, technically.
You mean the servant's entrance? I mean, whatever you want to call it.
She's like, ow, 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 bang. Ow, God, you shot me. Now I'm going to die in 6 days. Worth it.
I don't think that they were all. My point is that I don't think that they were all,
But Richard, that's how the tale of you, I'm going to find that on Wikipedia. It's going to be Richard, the service door man, or Richard service door.
Sean, how many stories have we done about crazy, weird sex cults? And Sean, we just did a show about a woman that was so pissed that her husband had a small dick that she demanded divorce.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know when that law was written? Middle Ages.
Yeah.
So even then they were like, hey, fucking Brunhilde is DTF.
Yeah, I'd assume it's just
not with that.
It's kind of like what we do with people where it's like, oh my God, they were 600 years ago. They were probably really stupid. It's like, well, no, they're probably pretty smart.
Yeah.
They knew how stuff worked.
They were smart. They just, had what they had. I was born in 1980. Did I have any clue how to make a fucking cell phone? No. If you would have shown this to 3-year-old Richard, he would have thought it was fucking magic.
Yeah. It's like, what's this calculator doing?
Yeah. No, it wouldn't even be that, because back then, even calculators were
expensive.
Were adding machines. You know what I mean? The big fucking looked like a cash register with the crank handle on the side.
We really do live in the best time, Richard. That's a good point. You couldn't even talk to people right now what we're doing. Back then it'd be hey, I'm gonna write a letter to Richard. It might get there. I don't know.
Well, if it was the 80s, then we could talk on the phone.
I mean, for a little bit. It'd be long distance.
But then I would have to have a machine the size of a Volkswagen in order to record it.
Yeah, and each phone call.
I'd be like, Sean, I got this new technology. Hang on. Recording.
But each phone call would have to be careful because it'd be long distance. So each phone call would be $30 or maybe more. I don't remember what it was.
Oh God, long distance was stupid expensive.
Uh-huh. Well, that's the thing too. Now, you tell kids, hey, we used to have to pay per text. It's like, wait, what? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
10 cents per text. You don't think it's much until you get the bill. $300.
I remember when I was in high school, because my high school, basically like the fastest internet you could possibly get, my high school had. Like the fastest possible internet in town you could get was at the high school. And so I went to the high school because I wanted to watch the trailer.
I remember you talking about that.
For episode 1. For episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And it took me like literally 5 hours to download this fucking 2.5 minute trailer.
Well, I mean, there used to be a time like you'd have to try and catch it on TV and record it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Did you record a lot of stuff off TV, like with your VCR?
My mom recorded a bunch of like Turtles and like Saturday morning cartoons.
Was it mainly television? You guys didn't do any movies? Like, I remember I had this like gigantic library of videotapes, like probably, oh God, I don't even, I'd say easily like 40 or 50 tapes.
We probably had like maybe 20. But most of them were cartoons. There was a few movies here or there, but like movies off of like TBS and stuff like that.
Yeah, like, see, the thing is that none of these movies were movies that we bought. They were all like, they all said like Polaroid on them, and they would just like, they would just have like written in like this like fucking green crayon, like what was on it.
Yeah, so a blast from my past. My where my grandpa lives, my uncle lives with him, and they don't have cable or anything out there, but they have all their VHSs still. So my uncle will put those in and watch those. So he'll watch like some grainy Clint Eastwood movie with like all of the old commercials and stuff like that.
When like I legit didn't know that it wasn't until like the 90s when they re-released Star Wars like out in theaters that like those movies had like box art. Like actually it wasn't until I went to the video store that I realized that like movies in general have like, they come in like boxes with, you know, the name of the movie and all this fucking like artwork and shit on them.
It must
like
have been
the movie poster basically.
It must have been rough. We're like, oh, I can't wait for the Kmart commercial to come on so I can go to the bathroom. Wait, where's the Kmart commercial?
No, my parents actually were really good about like editing out commercials.
Oh, nice. That's, I think my mom did some of that, but I think it's...
Because you got to remember, this is like the time before... This is before remote. So, you know, like, basically either you had to be there, like, hitting pause and record, you know, to, like, to, like, edit the commercials out, or you had to, like, yell at somebody that was sitting in front of the television. You're like, hey, hit pause. Okay, hit record.
Because that was probably pre-remotes too, so I think those were pretty pricey for like remote control ones.
No, that's what I'm saying. So either you had to do it, or you basically like yelled at whoever was sitting in front of the television to do it.
Yeah, so you got
which was me.
So you constantly have these movies where you miss like the first like 3 or 4 words of each like dialogue opening. I always really like the old commercials though, because you get to kind of see like those really put like you in time and place.
Oh yeah, like old commercials, definitely. Like it's a 100% a time capsule. Like we can stop burying things underneath statues to remind us of what it was of what life was like 100 years ago. All you gotta do is just fire up YouTube and like watch a commercial for Orange Julius.
Oh yeah, takes place in a mall or
Atari.
Court. Ooh, yeah.
Oh,
the video game ones.
Food court.
Yeah, I always like the video games one because you never really see the video games. It's just the kids reacting to it. Like, oh my God, the graphics.
I remember you flip through magazines and these kids like always have this look on their face like it's a combination of it's like such uncontrollable excitement that they look almost angry. They have this look on their face like they just got like they're about to punch somebody in the face, but they're like super happy about it.
They're having like the best, worst time of their life.
Yes.
That'd be one thing. Like, could you imagine going back in time like to 12-year-old Richard and showing him your computer set up and games on that?
Oh my God, he would shit bricks.
Because I remember like when I got like MLB baseball like 2000, and my mom walked in, she's like, "Oh my God, this looks so real." You know, jump forward 20 years where like it legit looks real.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I have seen some recent like tech tests on video games with like the new which is it? The new Unreal Engine. And it boggles my mind how good that can look.
Yeah, because now you're getting like super minute nuances like sweat beads and like.
Well, now they can. Just light, just like showing like light and shadow, and the way like how they can and how it can dynamically change is fucking insane. It's so crazy. But you're right. If I went to like 12-year-old me and be like, look at this, he'd be like, you're a wizard. You must be a king in your time.
And
and then you go, I am.
If you took that to your medieval time, it would just be a box that has no use.
Yeah.
Hey, where's your guys' plug-in?
No, it's really cool. All I need is an outlet. Just a power strip, anything. Guys.
Oh, look, you guys use wind power. Where's the outlet for this? Windmill. No outlet? Oh. What's that on your face? It looks like it itches. Why do I itch?
He died 4 days later. He died of dysentery.
Yeah, that's the other
fear.
But
yeah, in cowboy times, I feel like I would get shot. But in medieval times, for some reason, I don't feel like I would get stabbed.
I think it's probably a similar thing where, like, if medieval time, if you're kind of out away from towns, there's probably that risk. But like, I imagine most towns were probably like just towns. Like in cowboy times, if you're in a town besides like Tombstone, it's just kind of everyday town, right?
Okay, what if we go like even farther back? What if we go like ancient Rome?
Well, I can't speak. They speak Greek, and Roman? Latin. Can't speak Latin. We show up and we're like, hey, everybody.
See, like, if you're talking there, like, I feel like at that point, like, all you're going to be able to do is be a farmer. Because I feel like ancient times, like, you couldn't get away with just, like, hey, look at me, I'm super rich. Like, you'd have to. I don't think you could just like walk in with a wink and a smile and be okay.
Yeah, I wonder where you could get that. Because I guess you could storytell, but you could storytell now, but there's just more people that can do it. The problem is if like you go like into like cowboy times or medieval times, if the town doesn't like you, if they're really bad critics, you got a long way to go to find the next town that might like your stuff.
That's true.
And
oh man,
you're walking, and you're like, I walk the lonely road. From the distance, you just hear, "Great Day sucks."
Yeah, but but there, like, if I go to ancient times, then it's very, very likely that I won't be set on fire for being a wizard.
It's true.
Like they were cool with that then.
I would be interested, like, to go back in time to see, like, I always feel like if you went back and like you were there, you're like, well, this just feels the same, but just like without certain conveniences. Like if it's not better or worse, it just kind of is. If that makes sense.
No, I get that. Like let's say you went to, I don't know, 2000 BC. Like you're still in Greece and weather's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And like lots of open land. You could like get some rocks together and put together a house and just like hang out.
Yeah. I mean, you could do that now too.
I think you'd have a much, much harder time trying to like sustain that now than you would then. Like back then, all you have to worry about is like making sure you have enough food to eat and that you don't, get eaten by a wild animal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like super rare. Because you've like, got a fire in your house and stuff like that. And
yeah. So what would make that more difficult now? Because you could probably find like some like deep public land, like M. Night Shyamalan's movie. You get deep into that and you build your own little shelter and
Yeah, but then you got to worry about somebody dressing up like a wolf and wandering around outside. And then you like leave to go get, like, say you hurt yourself, then you leave to go get help. And then you find out that M. Night Shyamalan's a fucking park ranger. And then you're like, this is the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah. But if you're in
Greece.
Greece.
And then you get really mad and then you punch him in the face. And then you go to jail for assaulting a park officer, Sean.
But if you go back in time and you got to do that with Greece, you find out that M. Night Shyamalan is on the Senate of Greece, and you're like, this is the stupidest twist ever because I went to 200 BC because I hate M. Night Shyamalan movies. And then you punch him and you go to jail for assaulting a Greek senator.
I think that you would have a much harder time because here's the thing, like at this point, I feel like land is kind of spoken for, like at least the kind of land that you could, sustain like a fairly decent operation and not have to, and not be subject, like along the coast where the weather stays pretty temperate, pretty mild. You don't have to, you worry about like some rain occasionally, and that's, probably about it. But like all that land is probably spoken for.
Yeah, but I bet there's land you can find, you get deep enough into it that it's probably places that nobody ever goes or touches. I mean, but
I'm saying that there's a reason why, more than likely, that it's not touched.
Because of what? Like dinosaurs?
Maybe.
Ooh. What if you discovered that there was dinosaurs in that land? Then you just get eaten. Then you're like, I should have went to Greece. Worst M. Night Shyamalan movie ever.
I hate time traveling.
Yeah, but even then, like you think about your skills right now, like, could you even survive building that stuff? I don't think I could. Unless, like, now you could at least get like a good bug out bag that could at least get you to the point where you can figure out how to make fire on your own.
Okay. Here's what you do. You show up in ancient Greece and you find somebody that has like a farm, and then you're like, hey, this is a nice farm. Stab. And then you kill him, or you just bang because you have a gun because you came from the future. You just came from cowboy times and you're like, fuck this noise. And so then you show up and you're like, bang. And then you're like, my farm, and like nobody's gonna know because nobody goes out there.
It's true. And then you just shoot their family and you take over, and all of a sudden, like, your arm starts.
But they probably don't. Like, you just find some guy that like just has a house and no family or whatever, and you're just like, hi, this is mine now. Bang.
Your arm starts to disappear. Like, wait a minute. You look and it says Richard the First. Like, damn it!
I brought this off myself.
Another portal opens and it's you from like 15 minutes later in life. Like, you shot me, bang! Oh, damn it. It's an infinite loop.
Oh, no. This is where Bruce Willis shows up.
It's the looper paradox.
All right, so Sean, what we're really going to talk about today... Oh, wait.
Oh, we'll have to say that for later.
I just looked up and realized, I was like, oh my God, we've just been like completely bullshitting for like an hour.
Yeah, we haven't done this in a while where it's just been kind of a vomiting of brain matter.
Nah, that's all right.
It is
I'm
all
fine
right.
with it.
I've had an interesting couple months.
Well, we just I mean, when you think about it, to bring it back around, is this the episode where we came up with the ideas for other episodes?
Oh yeah, we kind of did, because we talked about time travel, talked a lot about history, where words came from.
Like, wow, where do words come from? Where would you live in if you could live in the past? Where would you be able to live? Nostalgia about children's television, cable, and the internet,
supernatural stuff. Like, why are there places where no human has set foot?
Oh my God!
You're welcome, America.
Yeah, copyright.
Podstorm. I'm glad I came up with that idea.
Wait.
Yeah, this was fun though. I needed a good kind of just open my mouth and let stuff come out.
A nice chill time.
Yeah.
And I feel like I say it a lot, but this is actually the conversation we would have.
Yeah.
Whether we're recording or not.
That's a good point. Yeah, this is when we recorded a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Although it's later.
Now it's later. Because time has passed. Because that's what it does.
Yeah. Time keeps on ticking.
Ticking. Slipping.
Oh, is it slipping? Oh,
Yeah.
it is. But I like that better or ticking. See? Another podcast idea. Take a good song.
Go back in time and change it.
Well, I was going to say, that's a good podcast there, too. You find a good song, you try to change some of the words.
You could go back in time and write songs.
There's a movie about, and we'll tidy this up after this, but there's a movie about a guy who is the only person that knows every Beatles song, and everybody else has forgot it. And so he basically...
Oh, I watched that movie.
Was it good?
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It has this weird, not ending, but like right before
Does he get shot by a
climax of the movie. No.
Okay.
But like the emotional climax of the movie, like something happens that you 100% like, you were like, I was not expecting this to go here, but oh, okay. All right. Like it it's not, I don't know, strange isn't the right word, but unexpected.
Okay. I was going to say, if he got shot by a fan, he should have been like, should have seen this coming.
It does not end badly. I'll say that.
That's good. We need more movies like that end on good high notes.
Yeah, I agree.
But all right.
Let's end this on a high note.
Oof. Well, Richard, I guess you kind of put some Richard closing thoughts out there. Do you have any more, or is that what you want to?
No. Let's end on a high note.
All right. Well, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Visit our website, languagebros.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at languagebro. Email us at bros@languagebros.com. And as always, we'd like to thank our patrons, Wendy and Aaron.
You guys are the bestest. Thanks for putting up with us.
Yeah, thanks for letting us be the crazy drunk people at the party. All right. Well, is there anything else before I close her out?
No, sir. I'm good.
All right. Well, that's all the bros have for this show. I'm Sean.
And I'm Richard.
And remember, don't be a why. Be a why not. Richard, I don't care what time I'd go to as long as it was with you.
Yeah. And then I'd write, you know what? If I was back in time, I would write letters and then I'd put them in a mailbox. So that way they would reach you in the future.
Oh, he just drew another dick. I miss him so much.